Continuamos. Muchas gracias.
Let's continue now. Thank you, Matías, Cristina, Lola, José. It has been a very interesting panel which we have just listened to, which is fresh, connected to reality, to the projects we have. You have shared some very meaningful words with us. And throughout the last 3 panels, I believe that we have been able to find these common elements, public institutions, this support that they have to offer, and how we need to also dive into working with our society, with citizens, with companies, how to create these participative processes. At times they are limited by legal frameworks. You've also mentioned how we try to escape from that, how we try to create a creative space for innovation. So thank you very much to all 3 panels that we've had so far. However, now we will have a keynote presentation. Yesterday we talked about this holistic experience in the Canary Islands, and today we want to have another speech talking about the present, about the future of the Canary Islands. This is the program of Islas Responsables, Responsible Islands in the Canary Islands. Here we can find people from the academic world, and the other half of those people are from the business world. We have women, we have men from different backgrounds. We've tried to invite speakers that are different, that can bring different perspectives to the table. Lola with the Life Project, Cristina from Osographic, all the different speakers we've had so far are a source of inspiration. Yesterday, in the evening after the Congress, I was asked, well, these students, where are they from? They're studying tourism, environment, natural sciences, also economics. Okay, and what do they think about innovation? Would they want to carry out something professionally in this field? What do you need from us? What do universities need? And well, wondering about that comes to show this liquid knowledge that is being created and how we can move forward with that. And now we will be hearing from Adriana Regidor Garcia and Deborah David Toma. Adriana is a mechanical engineer. She has been working for many years with promoting sustainability. She's an industrial engineer with an outstanding track record in promoting sustainability in its economic, social and environmental dimensions. Throughout her career, she has collaborated with public administrations, universities, research and development centers, third sector entities and knowledge-intensive companies, promoting responsible and equitable practices. With this project of Islas Responsables, together they want to work on this strategy, this smart specialization strategy within the framework of the European Union and that the government of the Canary Islands are developing. Deborah Toma, she is a marketing and communication specialist with a solid track record in creating communication strategies and multilingual content, especially in technology sectors and sustainable products. She studied in the Saxon University in the Netherlands. She holds a degree in business administration and marketing. In addition, she also has a master's in digital marketing. She works with different entities, and she's also a second speaker for this very important keynote speech on the program of Islas Responsables de Canarias from the government of the Canary Islands. Thank you so much for joining us today. You have the floor now. Thank you so much, Carlos, for having us today. It's a real pleasure to participate and to introduce you to the Islas Responsables project. You've already introduced us both. We are the two leaders of this project. We have had a long morning. We have heard from the audience too. However, I would like to start by asking you a question. Do you know how many islands there are in this planet? I don't think you will need a mic, but those of you who want to participate, just say it out loud. Say it out loud. How many islands are there on planet Earth? 2 million? Any other guesses? Apologies, comments off the mic can't be interpreted. Well, this was a trick question. It depends on what you define as an island. I think there are 900,000 islands in the world, but only around 11,000 up to 18,000 have inhabitants. So, thinking about this, there are so many islands in our planet. They have so many shared challenges. What have they done? What have other island groups done out there to try and solve these challenges? Maybe we can learn from them. Maybe we can replicate something that already exists. And that's how Islas Responsables came about. Well, with everything we've already heard, and this last panel is the perfect introduction to all part. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it's just the perfect foretaste for what we will be explaining now. I would like to offer you a broader framework and later on zoom into our project. So, the government of the Canary Islands decided to do something quite disruptive, to create an office of strategic planning where our government is trying to think on the long term, something which might seem counterintuitive as politicians usually focus only on those 4-year strategies. However, we have created this department where we try and find a way of creating these long-term plans for the future and how to become more solvent, more sustainable. From this perspective, one of the initiatives we have created is Islas Responsables, responsible islands. Moises stated before how important purpose is, and that's one of the first tasks we carried out. What's the purpose of this project? What's the value we can add to what is already happening in the Canary Islands? Maybe we can look at other remote, isolated regions that could teach us something. We work with, in essence, this is an initiative that aims to contribute to sustainable businesses aligned with the 2030 agenda. We have the Sustainable Development Goals that are trying to improve the state of the planet so that everyone can work on a peaceful world and where their dignity is respected, not only of these generations, but also for generations to come. So we work with the 2030 agenda, and as Carlos stated, we also have this smart specialization strategy for the Canary Islands. You also mentioned innovation. Today we want to dive into innovation, but also speak about, of course, sustainability. We decided to look at the definition of COTEC. According to COTEC Foundation, innovation sustainability is all change, not only technological, but also knowledge-based, not only from scientific knowledge, but that also generates value, but not only economic value. So, our concept of sustainability has not only to do with creating economic value, but also social value and environmental value. Now, I'll be offering some spoilers now, but this is the term of reference we have for innovation, sustainability within our project. Depending on one project or another, we will be talking about innovation and sustainability, or sustainability and innovation. Well, Adriana just mentioned this concept of sustainability, of innovation. It might seem quite abstract. So what we are trying to do is to materialize it in some way. In order to achieve that, we have created and envisioned some expectations for this Islas Responsables project. One important part of this project is to create a hub of sustainability. What do we mean by that? Well, a website with content, say knowledge hub with this content that might serve as a source of inspiration for anyone who's interested in developing business models with this holistic innovation sustainability approach. So what we're doing is we're showcasing those success stories. We've had some start-up practices on other islands. We are trying to showcase what we've already achieved from these perspectives of the 3 Ps: people, planet, and profit. So we're trying to raise awareness of these success stories and good practices with an impact on the 3 Ps I just mentioned. What we also would like to achieve is, as Christina said on the previous panel, is to create a forum where these people, the stakeholders, can collaborate and co-create solutions with other regions that share the same challenges. We have different perspectives from different stakeholders, and that is really the richness of this project, to bring all of those different perspectives together. Last but definitely not least, we want to position the islands as an innovation hub, so that they are part of the solution and not the problem. Now let's zoom in a bit more. We want to create a benchmark of the success stories. We want to look at other islands in the world. We also integrate in the concept of islands remote regions, maybe due to geopolitical reasons or others. They're isolated. So we are not only looking at other islands, but also at remote regions. Additionally, we also want to look at startup projects here in the Canary Islands. It's always well and good to look abroad at other role models in the world, but it's also interesting to look at ourselves and what is happening within the Canary Islands. So we also try to shed some light and value what is happening here in our archipelago. Now, for that we need to choose some cases. What criteria do we use for that? When we started off, our draft of this project was pretty much empty. However, we had to limit our selection process in some way. So we decided to focus on those projects that might receive ESG funds. These ESG funds consider 3 sustainability criteria to assess the performance of a company: environmental, social, and governance. Now we also have the interest groups. I think Cristina also mentioned that in the end, what's important is to connect the different stakeholders within one ecosystem so that our work isn't fragmented. We need to involve academia, the different research centers, as well as innovation clusters, startup clusters, all the different stakeholders that have to come together so they can communicate to each other, and then more ideas and possibilities will flourish. Regarding our thematic scope, we already mentioned the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. We also focus, however, on RIS3, the Smart Specialization Strategy. Do you know about this strategy? Are you familiar with it? I don't know if you are, but just some quick explanation. It was a strategy that the European Union asked the different regions in the Union to develop. In that strategy, we would explain what would be our most competitive aspects, where we could offer some added value. That's why we decide on specializing on a specific sector. We have involved all the stakeholders within this process, and we have included, as you can see on the screen, the sectoral priorities as well as the cross-cutting priorities. In the end, we had to decide on what we wanted Islas Responsables to look like, and there was no need to reinvent the wheel, so we used this extended RIS3 as a basis. So our proposal was to start off with 2 sectors, 2 strategic sectors, both for the Canary Islands as well as for other remote regions and island groups. One of them is, of course, tourism. This is a sector where we believe there's still a lot to be done in terms of sustainability. And the other part, although it hasn't been identified as an independent pillar, it's still cross-cutting, which is the agro-food sector. We are islands. Food sovereignty is crucial, also for our landscapes and how we manage agriculture, how we technify it. So it offered many different dimensions that we thought were very interesting in order to boost these innovative, sustainable projects. And these 2 sectors also work greatly along each other. Rural worlds, how we can connect that to tourism. You mentioned that in the last panel. There are many synergies, so we decided to start off with these. However, this does not mean that we won't be adding more fields, more domains that have already been identified within the smart or intelligent specialization strategy. Now we're trying to show what this Islas Responsables project looks like. But of course this is a holistic approach, a 360-degree approach. So we have many different concepts such as circularity, precision agriculture, functional feeding, food security, biotechnology, as well as renewable energies. All these included within the agri-food sector. We have different perspectives, different points of view to try and find a way of being more sustainable in our agri-food sector. And the same can be said for tourism, water management, clean energies, waste management, which can be offer many opportunities for the islands. Technifying this sector, this green infrastructure. This Congress lets us know whether we are doing our work right or not. It allows this self-assessment. Well, now that we understand the broader aspects of the project, we would like to offer some more specific examples and explanations. In this case, we have brought examples from abroad. We will also be presenting some examples from the Canary Islands, but first and foremost, we wanted to share some very few examples from abroad so that you can see what we're aiming for. This is in Singapore. They are carrying out these vertical crops projects, which they have been doing for several years now. It might seem innovative to us, but it's also already been a stable project for them. It has a real impact, and that's how we, on the right side, you can see how we are categorizing it by their achievements, how many achievements they have been able to make, how successful it was. We can see what energy consumption that project leads to and what water consumption too. This vertical crops being moved all the time so that all the plants can get the same amount of water and sun exposure. We also take a look at the innovation, the sectors and technologies, and of course its impacts related to food sovereignty in a densely populated part of the world. It also leads to a more reasonable use of their soil and their space, their surface. In that impact part, as you can see, we are also taking a look at what SDGs they are working with. So this is one of the examples that could be a source of inspiration for us here in the Canary Islands. We're not aiming to replicate everything exactly as it is being carried out in other regions in the world. We are singular, we are unique, but we can still find inspiration from those examples. Usually the best ideas come from bringing other ideas together and having that hybrid as a result. Now, this has a very positive social, environmental, and economic impact. Here we have another example of the agri-food sector, which is more linked to the social aspect. This is a company that can be found in Ireland. Maybe you've heard about this drink called coffee. I don't know if you know much about that, the world of coffee, but in Kenya and Ethiopia, they sell most of the coffee we drink in the world. However, they only keep a small percentage of total profit. Now what they've tried to do is to create this fair value chain, and that is 100% transparent, so that 50% of that value stays in the countries of origin, and those people that are putting the most effort into making this coffee exchange possible. So Moyer, the company behind it, invented this concept of fair chain. They want to work with the local communities so that this added value process can be done there on the terrain, so that the profit goes back to the communities that are growing those coffee trees, coffee plants. As you can see, innovation can happen just by taking a look at what is happening out there. Then we can create a strategy and even contributing from an environmental and social perspective. And that's what we are aiming for at Islas Responsables. As I mentioned before, they are also they're using many innovations. They use blockchain technology in order to trace all products back to their origin. Thanks to that, we'll now have a formal and official track of this economy that in the past used to be more of an informal, less known economy. So this entity has achieved to change the rules of the game, and that's what we want to aim for too. And apologies if I'm showing myself as a very passionate speaker, but I really look forward and I'm really excited about the opportunity of replicating this processes, these achievements here in the Canary Islands, and you can be the ones seizing this opportunity. You, the young people, can change the game, the rules of the game, and improve this world. Carlos is already telling me from the back, we have to go on, we have to finish. Well, I have two more examples, and then we would be done. We're running out of time. Here you have another example from Hawaii, which is called the Malama Initiative. The translation of this concept is to take care, to keep, to protect. What's the goal of this initiative? Well, to physically and emotionally link tourists to the region they visit. How do they achieve this? Through volunteer tourism. So, vol-tourism. These tourists work on regrowing forests, on cleaning beaches, so they can interact with local people on one hand, and on another hand to have a positive impact during their holidays. In order to achieve this, they work together with hotels that are upgrading and offering discounts to tourists if they participate in these volunteer actions. They have achieved over 10,000 hours of voluntary work by tourists. That's one of the measurable achievements. And things are happening there. This is an initiative that has been there around for many years, and I believe it's one of the most interesting examples that not only show us that tourism can come and visit all islands, but they can also give back to them by connecting with us. Now here we have a more technological example from the Candela entity. It works with marine or water mobility. We talked to the island of Ekedo, close to Stockholm, in Sweden. However, there are some islands that are a part of the city. Stockholm isn't a city, an island, but it has some islands. In the past, they worked mainly with roads. There was a lot of traffic, many traffic jams on those roads. What they were striving for was to create a technology this application of naval hydrofoil technology in passenger vessels connecting Stockholm Islands, which would reduce energy consumption to have up to 25 seats, also for people with reduced mobility, and it connects the islands to the city. It uses up less energy. It only requires renewable energies. In fact, it requires no fossil fuels. It operates with 100% of electric and renewable energy, eliminating the use of fossil fuels. And it also offers better connectivity. There is a reduction of travel time by 50%, so 15-kilometer route in 30 minutes, being the fastest electric ferry in the world. Well, just a few more examples and then I promise we are done. Now, regarding the actions and deliverables, we're already working on the benchmark of the success stories we have just shared. We will also be publishing this sustainability hub through our website in about a month. And another step we will be taking at the end of the year, if everything works out, we will have a forum where both people that have already worked on these projects as well as local stakeholders can connect. These local stakeholders could then see what projects they could replicate in the islands. And well, I think we already run out of time, so just some final ideas. All islands can be the principal actors and agents of innovation, of course, but also of solutions. We can be a showcasing platform of innovative projects. We can be a role model for the rest of the world. That's the idea behind a project. We want to be a role model for other regions that might look at us as a benchmark for what they want to carry out. Sustainability is our northern star that shows us the way. That responsibility that is within the name of Islas Responsables aims to be a strategic plan on the long term. However, even though we look at the future, we need to start from here, from the present. We need to start now. Here you can see our emails on the screen. Please reach out to us if you have any comments, any questions, or also some tips. We look forward to anything you want to share with us, and as you've just heard, we will be sharing our Knowledge Hub or Sustainability Hub in a month, and we hope that you will be able to share this opportunity with other people and that it will be a useful resource for all of you. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to share it with you. Thank you.